Hi there, my name is Ruben and welcome to this special video on Google Analytics. Google Analytics is classic analytics tool, especially in the web. It's been around for a long time, has a very strong history on establishing fundamentals and basic ideas like UTMs. And in this video, I really want to help you understand three things. First, whether it's the 2020 position for Google Analytics based on futures, copy, and where do they seem to be going over the next few years. Second, I want to help you understand what's the Google Analytics role in your stack and how it differs whether you're e-commerce or B2B or SaaS or mobile, what happens if you have low traffic versus high traffic, what are some of the upgrade possibilities. And lastly, show you a little bit around how tools fit into an overall data strategy. I'll show you the 3 Ps, which I like to share with clients, and how to think about tools. Now, this is not a comprehensive overview on every little report and feature that Google Analytics has. And in fact, they're always adding new things. Instead, it's a strategic conversation around what role this tool fits, who does it work really well for, and how to go about it, right? How does it really fit into your existing stack and how it might play well with other tools. That being said, I'm gonna share my screen, show you the website, a couple of features, reports, things that I find interesting based on the experience and the experience of my clients. So let's dive right in. Great, let's dive into Google Analytics. Google Analytics is really the classic when it comes to web analytics and maybe a lot of digital and market analytics. It's been around for a long time. It has set a lot of the fundamentals and even core ideas that we use today. And the product has changed to an extent, but it's also very similar to what it was and what it has been for the past 5 or 10 years. Now, almost everyone knows Google Analytics. The free version, which works very well for maybe up to a few million visits a month, is something that almost every company has. So I don't want to talk too much about the free product, which everyone knows. Instead, talk a little bit about how the product has changed and how has Google changed their ecosystem. So to start, the Google ecosystem has added a few players. We have Google Tag Manager for deploying tags. We have Google Optimize, which is the free A/B testing solution. And you're able to tie a lot of these tools together and make them play really nicely with each other. So now it's common to see a stack of Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, Google Optimize, all working very well for up to a few million visits a month. So that's really what the evolution has been for it. We of course have Data Studio as a way to build more advanced dashboards. Surveys has been around for a while, and then the other 3 I mentioned: Analytics, Tag Manager, and Optimize. So while the core GA product hasn't changed very much, the ecosystem around it has expanded. And now you can have a very strong stack just sticking to Google. And of course, if you spend a lot of money in Google Ads or in the ad ecosystem, you'll know that a lot of the tracking is going to work very well. And it's just going to be really easy if you're playing within this very specific world. The free and paid version is still the same. It's a free version, and then the 360 version, which goes up to 100K, 150K a year, it's still the same pricing model. There's likely no reason for that to change. Now, some of the things that are new when it comes to Google, it's some minor redesigns and some interesting additions. So this is a bit of a summary now over what's going on, right? Which we see now. Something that's also been new is how Google has been trying to bring machine learning into the product. So trying to surface insights automatically instead of you having to go dig into them. So pretty handy. You can get this, deliver and then see different insights. And what's great is they sort of pre-built a lot of these things. I'm not sure how much this is being used by companies right now. I imagine that if you know how to use GA, you know how to find this. And if you don't know how to use the GA, maybe you don't. But I think this will be really helpful over time, just simply giving you a lot of the answers that you need. So that's something that's relatively new. Then we have a few other things. The addition of cohort analysis, which we see a lot in tools like Mixpanel and Amplitude. We have it now. It's not as flexible, right? We're still limited to whatever Google tracks, in terms of goals and retention. But it's handy, right? We can start to get a general sense of how users are coming back to the product on a weekly, daily, or monthly basis, based on maybe page views, maybe goal completions, depending on what goals we have, and so on. Of course, we can filter all this for specific goals. So it's a handy new idea. We have lifetime value, which of course works off the revenue tracking in Google Analytics. Keep in mind that revenue tracking in Google Analytics is still very heavily designed around the e-commerce model. So you could use it as a SaaS company or some other company. It's just not that good of a fit. But if you're e-commerce, it's fantastic. Which, as a second point, a lot of the e-commerce expansion around being able to track checkout behavior. Let me see if I have it here. Drop off in a checkout funnel, and some other e-commerce specific performance is quite good. So there's a lot of expansion around that. And I was going to mention a lot of the cross-device data. Let's see if I have it here. This account doesn't have permission to do it. So it's just simply the ability to look at how different users are interacting across devices. So Google is leveraging their network to give you some insights around this aspect. So that's quite handy. We also have, let's open this attribution. And, this is trying to build some of the attribution that's available in 360 and bringing it down into the free account. You always had attribution to some extent, or what you might call multi-channel funnels. They're just simply building it out and trying to give you a little bit more access here. But a lot of the product itself is still very, very similar to what it was, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, right? But that ecosystem playing nicely with Google Optimize and Google Tag Manager is pretty big, and it can make it really easy to do stuff. Now, where this is going, or where this, I guess, market is going, it's likely not going to change. Google Analytics is still really the standard when it comes to web analytics and market analytics. It's very good. It works for a lot of use cases. Almost every company can benefit from it, and it's free. It's just a really hard to beat offer. The only area where I'm seeing some inroads is privacy conscious industries, where a lot of companies have built their equivalents to GA and they deploy them on a private server, and there's more security and things like that. But for a lot of businesses, it's just a fantastic tool. So I don't see Google really losing their dominance, and we can see how easy they can just release a few features like attribution, bringing it down from the 360 suite, and just makes the product even better. So as a tool, as part of a stack, it's a fantastic choice. It plays really well. It's integrated extremely well across so many different other tools and stacks. It's just really hard to go wrong with Google Analytics if it's what you're looking for. If it's web attribution, marketing and web attribution in particular. Finally, I do want to cover a little bit of what I call the 3 Ps, which to me make the heart of a data strategy. And we start with people, and people just means who's going to be using the data, what's the right format, what do they expect. An executive will want to see a summary of KPIs that matter to him or her. And a product manager is probably going to want to dig into the data, try to understand and figure out what is the story that he wants to tell about the product. Then we have process, which is how you go through the data, how you uncover insights, what are the skills, the statistics, the probabilities that come with the data. And finally, we have providers. And this is where Google Analytics and tool stacks fit in. So you ideally want to go bottom up, right? Figure out people, process, and finally slot in providers based on a really solid foundation of your pyramid here. But life doesn't always work that way. And I find most companies are coming top bottom, and they're saying, we have this very expensive tool that no one is using. How do we fix it? And now we have to sort of go back to the bottom, figure out people, figure out process, and hope that this tool is the right choice. Especially, I had a client that he was asking me about, I think Mixpanel. And, I told him, what, it's a great choice. If this is what you want to go with, it's fantastic. But we can also explore other options. They might be a better fit. And he just looks at me. He's like, "There's no other options. We have a 3-year contract with Mixpanel already signed and paid for. We're here." So if that's the case, then you gotta make it work. You gotta do your best and make that deal work. But if you have the flexibility, even better. So that is it for Google Analytics. Fantastic choice. Such a classic provider in the space, and it's just their dominance is just not going to change just because at the end of the day, it's a really great product and it really offers a lot for a price tag of $0. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Make sure to like and subscribe. There's also going to be a link for the Growth Needle. This is a weekly newsletter that I send with similar ideas, but in a weekly email format. I think you'll enjoy that. As I mentioned before, my name is Ruben. Talk soon.